on, everybody? So I want to talk about the Nancy Guthrie case. Some things that I haven't seen nobody mention that me and my uncle was talking about yesterday, and that is the blood that's right there on Nancy's staircase. Now, there can't be too many reasons to why there would be blood right there on her staircase. Let's be honest. We know there's been a lot of holes in this case, and a lot of things been solved in a BS way. But I can't even remember if they announced whose blood that was on the staircase. We're gonna go ahead and assume that it's Nancy's, because if it was anybody else, they probably would be in custody right now, right? So now the question is, how did the blood get on the staircase? I'm hearing people saying, it's nosebleeds, or it's some type of different blood because it spots, it's dropping on the stairs or whatever. I'm going to tell y'all this. I don't know what type of blood it is, but this is what goes hand in hand with my theory. I know some guys who was just like allegedly the burglars that kidnapped Nancy, and they were cowards, and they actually also brandished a firearm on their waist. Why? Because they wasn't going to use it, and they just wanted to scare the person in the house who knew they had a safe in there. So what they went in there with was a loaded weapon and some duct tape that they planned on duct taping the person with, and getting the safe numbers. Now, what ended up happening was, when they got there, the person put up a fight, and since the guy didn't want to use the weapon, his option he had in his hand was pistol whipping the person. Now, this person that got pistol whipped was a lot younger than Nancy. We know she was 85 years old, very old lady, on meds every day. Now, my question is, if she put up a fight right when they were pulling her out her house, like any elderly lady would do, like, where you bringing me? You know what I mean? Who knows if she knew them or not? But say she puts up a fight, boom, he hits her with the weapon, allegedly. Come on, let's go. Who knows what that did to her? Maybe knocked her unconscious, could have did some damage to her. Maybe he's with somebody else, they grab her, and they take her off somewhere. But all I'm saying is, now they're saying that there was somebody at the camera 2 different times. Now, I don't know anybody that's going to go to the spot 2 different times. That's twice the chance of getting caught. You know what I mean? Twice the chance of being in the same spot. Twice the chance of you having to pull in and park. But obviously, we see the guy at the camera. He got gloves on, mask. He don't have a nosebleed. Nobody's bleeding. So obviously, that had to happen after he went in the house. And if we go back to Officer Theos, whatever his name is, of Tucson, he says it was a burglary. And Nancy was taken at her bed. So with that being said, the blood had to happen on the way out. Now, like I said, from a lot of stories I've heard and I personally seen, I know how these things go down. There's only a couple of ways. And when I told my uncle, you think they would do that to an old lady? He said, do you think they care when they in that position? And I said, you goddamn right. And I was also talking about Sheriff Tanos that runs the little town that Nancy's from, the one that's pretty much handling this case and bumping heads with the FBI. But like I said, for some reason, to my knowledge, I never heard him yet elaborate, on the blood that was on the staircase. Besides that, there was blood on the staircase. Maybe I missed it, but I never heard him say if it was Nancy's, if it was the suspects. Like I said earlier in the video, I'm going to assume it wasn't the suspects because he would have been in custody, right? But that also is a big significance to what happened. Why was she bleeding right at her doorstep, right on her staircase? Like I said earlier, did she refuse to leave that door and the person allegedly did what he had to do? Maybe hit her a little too hard, who knows? But that's why I brought up the story I brought up earlier. Because those people, let's just say it was a story, had no intention of, doing anything with that weapon when they went in that house with the duct tape, besides maybe hitting the guy with it if he had to. But allegedly, when they did that, they ended up hitting him a little too hard. And things got bad. That's all I'm going to say. But also, another thing I want to say, ever since day one, when Nancy was taken from her home, like they said in the interview, Sheriff Tanos said that she was taken right from her bed. But anyways, it's weird to me how we haven't heard her voice yet in a recording. We haven't heard from the victims yet in a recording. I was telling my uncle how that's real weird. But we've heard from TMZ all these people that say, we know the guy, we want a reward. I honestly think that's BS now. And could that possibly be the person who blew his chances at getting anything because allegedly he may have heard her? Think about it that way. If this person really wanted money, they're saying, come get the million, you could be anonymous, drop Nancy off. Maybe did something happen to her? There was blood right on the staircase before she even left the house. Think about it, child.